Mateo stands before the floor-to-ceiling window of his corner office, the city's nightlights spreading below like a captive constellation. On his desk, a smartphone glows with a missed call from home. He plays the voicemail. His aunt's voice, strained with sorrow, delivers the message in Haitian Creole. His grandmother has passed. The funeral is Friday. Mateo's hand hovers over the keypad, but he does not dial. He cannot. This is the central contradiction of his life. Extreme success, coupled with permanent exile. His story reveals the complex reality behind temporary protected status, a humanitarian program with lasting personal costs. Mateo's journey began not in a boardroom, but in a sun-bleached coastal town in the Caribbean. His father repaired fishing boats. His mother sold vegetables at the market. His grandmother was the family anchor, her hands always busy with chores or pointing out constellations. Life was modest but rich with community. Mateo dreamed of studying engineering, a dream housed in the local technical college. That dream shattered during a sweltering afternoon when an earthquake roared through their world. The ground turned liquid, swallowing buildings whole. His school collapsed. His father's workshop vanished under rubble. Their home became a web of cracks. The family joined thousands in a tent city on a football field, where survival meant lining up for bottled water that often ran out and fighting hunger with inadequate food distributions. This collective trauma triggered a designation thousands of miles away. The United States declared the region eligible for temporary protected status. For Mateo's family, it wasn't an opportunity but a lifeline, a chance to survive when home had become unlivable. Reaching that lifeline required more suffering. The family sold everything: his mother's gold earrings, his father's tools, a small parcel of ancestral land. The money was for airline tickets to Miami, but a fraudulent travel agent stole their cash and disappeared. Desperate, they turned to a smuggler, paying $5,000 per person for passage on a fast boat to Florida. The reality was a rotting fishing vessel, its hull stained with rust and fish guts. 47 people crammed into space meant for 15. No life jackets, only a compass and cheap radio for navigation. They pushed off into moonless darkness, watching their homeland's lights shrink to nothing. The journey was a slow burn horror. The first day brought blistering sun. The second delivered a storm. Waves taller than the boat crashed over the bow, soaking everyone with cold salt water. People vomited from seasickness and fear. A young mother clutched her crying infant, her own tears silent. Mateo remembers the smell most vividly: fuel, sweat, brine, and terror. On the third morning, as dehydration set in, a grey shape appeared on the horizon, a U.S. Coast Guard cutter. Interception, not rescue, but it meant survival. Processing at the port was a blur of bright lights, uniforms, and biometric screening. Because their TPS applications were already in motion, they weren't placed in removal proceedings, but paroled into the country, a legal limbo, allowing them to stay while their cases finalized. Relief washed over them, but it was the relief of survivors reaching a raft, not shore. The shore was a one-bedroom apartment in Miami's Little Haiti, shared with his uncle's family of 5. 10 people in space meant for 4. Mateo slept on a pallet in the hallway. The struggle for survival continued, just in a new language. His first American job was washing dishes in a steamy restaurant kitchen. The work was brutal: 8-hour shifts, scrubbing baked-on grease, hauling heavy trash bags, his hands perpetually raw and bleached by chemicals. The pay was cash, under-the-table exploitation, but it was money. Needing higher wages to send home, he joined a roofing crew. There, suffering became personal. On a rainy morning, working without safety gear, Mateo lost his footing on a wet shingle. He fell 10 feet, landing on his left wrist. The snap was audible, the pain blinding. He couldn't afford a hospital, no insurance, no savings, and fear that official records might jeopardize his pending TPS case. A co-worker wrapped the wrist with a t-shirt and wood splint. "You keep working or you don't eat," the man said. Mateo worked for days, his left arm held awkwardly against his chest. The bone set poorly. A faint scar and stiffness in that wrist remain today, a permanent receipt for his early years in America. The turning point was a public library. Exhausted after double shifts, Mateo would wander in for the air conditioning and quiet. One day, he sat at a public computer and typed, "How to build something with a computer." That search led to free online programming courses. A new world opened, a universe of logic and creation that didn't care about his accent or immigration status. Code only cared if it was correct. Night after night, he returned. He learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript. He built simple websites, then more complex applications. He created an inventory management app for small businesses, streamlining a process he'd seen his mother struggle with at the market. He showed it to a local bodega owner who showed it to a customer, a software developer. That introduction changed everything. The developer saw raw talent and ferocious determination. He offered Mateo an internship, then helped him obtain his official employment authorization document through his approved TPS status. For the first time, Mateo had a job with a paycheck, taxes withheld, and a future. He moved from intern to junior developer to lead engineer with stunning speed. He wasn't just good, he was obsessed, coding to rebuild the world taken from him. At 32, with savings and a network, he founded his own company, a secure communication platform for financial institutions. It solved a real problem, got funding, and grew. By 40, Mateo's company employed over 300 people. His net worth reached tens of millions. He arrived in America with a plastic bag containing 2 changes of clothes and a dried mango seed his grandmother gave him for luck. He now owned a penthouse, but kept that seed preserved under glass on his desk. This wealth collided with immigration realities. TPS is temporary. To stay permanently, recipients must adjust status through another avenue. For Mateo, this meant an employment-based green card, an 8-year process of lawyers, applications, and anxious waiting. Throughout, his TPS needed renewal every 18 months. He couldn't travel outside the US without advance parole. Doing so would abandon his green card application. He was effectively trapped within US borders. When he finally became a lawful permanent resident, and later a US citizen, he felt a seismic shift. He had permanence, security, a passport, but the world he left hadn't stood still. The conditions triggering the original TPS designation, environmental damage, instability, violence hadn't resolved. The US State Department maintained travel advisories warning of kidnapping and unrest. For someone of Mateo's public profile, returning wasn't just complicated, it was a security risk. The wealth symbolizing his success also made him a target. The door he entered had locked shut behind him. This abstract reality became devastatingly personal with his grandmother's illness. Every Sunday video call showed her gradual fading. Her questions were always the same. How is the weather? Are you eating well? And finally, when will you come home? Mateo's answer was always, soon, Grandma, next year. It was a loving deflection of pain he couldn't fix. Next year never came. Her death brought grief compounded by powerlessness. He wired money for the most beautiful casket, a lavish reception, a marble headstone. He participated via shaky video call, watching pixelated figures gather under a hot sun as his grandmother was lowered into earth. He heard hymns, saw flowers, witnessed mourning. But he couldn't smell the turned soil, feel family shoulders beside him, or place his hand on the coffin. His contribution was financial, remote and hollow. The richest man in the family couldn't provide the one thing that mattered, his presence. Mateo's story offers complex lessons. Suffering and success aren't opposites. They weave through the same life. Legal immigration systems, even humanitarian programs like TPS, carry lasting human costs. Home becomes a connection severed by bureaucracy and time. For audiences considering migration, this is a cautionary map. Understand legal status is a spectrum, not a destination. Temporary protections can become permanent limbo. Financial success doesn't heal all wounds. Research is survival consult licensed attorneys, not smugglers or notarios. Prepare for years of renewals and separation. Build community in your new home. It will sustain you. And acknowledge that luck, both good and bad, plays a role no spreadsheet predicts. Mateo had survival luck, mentor luck, a brilliant mind. He also had disaster luck, a crooked agent, and a world that reshaped to keep him from the woman who loved him most. His is one of 9 doors, marked by survival, coded in loss, illuminated by city lights that cannot outshine Caribbean stars.